Hello and welcome to our viewers here in Nigeria and all around the world. I am Kelly Egiga and we're live from our studio here in Lagos, Nigeria. Here's what is coming up on the program. On the program, the death toll in the forest fires in Chile has risen to more than 100. The World Today starts right now. And many thanks indeed for staying with us wherever you're watching from around the world. We are live from our headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria. Now we're monitoring developments in Chile where forest fires have killed more than 100 people. Officials are still trying to peg the numbers. So far have agreed on 112 for now. A state of emergency has been declared by President Gabriel Boric, who says he would make all necessary resources available to tackle the situation. The fires are said to be Chile's deadliest on record. Those affected, a lot of them were only visiting the coastal region of Valparaiso for the summer holidays when they got pulled into the disaster. The health ministry is calling for an alert to be put in place in the region and for the suspension of elective surgeries for now. Rescue services have struggled to reach the most badly affected areas, and Interior Minister Carolina Toha says the death toll will reach much higher figures in the coming hours. And back here in the continent, precisely in Kenya, authorities say they have evacuated residents living in the area where 3 people were killed and nearly 30 more injured following a gas explosion in the capital Nairobi last week. The schools have been closed today as parents were asked to pick up their children. Authorities have secured the area, albeit a security measure, while the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority has been invited to identify whether there still remains a threat. The incident that happened last week, reports about a gas leak, has gone unattended hours before the fatal explosion. A lorry carrying gas cylinders exploded on Thursday night just before midnight, igniting a huge ball of fire, destroying several homes and vehicles. And just hours following news of the President Hage Geingobb's passing in Namibia, Namibia has now sworn in Vice President Nangolo Mbuba. 82-year-old Geingob died suddenly on Sunday while receiving treatment at a hospital in the capital, Windhoek. Mbuba had announced his demise. As president now, he will serve in the role until elections are due next year or later this year. And Mbuba has also assured citizens of his presence during the elections and paying tribute to his predecessor. He said, quote, "Our nation remains calm and stable owing to the leadership of the former president, was the chief architect of the Constitution." The former president was first sworn in as president in 2015, but had served in top political positions since independence in 1990. The exact cause of his death was not given, but last month he underwent a 2-day novel treatment for cancerous cells in the US before flying back home on January 31. And elections are still unsure in Senegal, and so is the internet, at least for now. The government today announced it was cutting access for residents as the nation grapples with a political crisis following President Macky Sall's announcement of the postponement of polls that were supposed to be held this month. And many in the capital, Dakar, says they have not been able to access mobile data on their phones since morning. The data blockade comes a day after violent street protests shook the capital, leading to arrest of at least one opposition senior figure. This is not the first time the internet has been suspended in Senegal. Last June, the government suspended mobile data and amid high tensions in the country. Well, let's stay with that story as we bring in Director CCCA Insurance Consulting Firm in Dakar, Amadou Dignier. Thank you indeed, Amadou, for agreeing to speak with us here on The World Today. How are you able to speak to us? I mean, seeing as we understand mobile data has been shut down in Senegal.
Yeah, mobile data is shut down. Most people use mobile data, but a few people have some other ways to be on the internet, like home internet, office internet, or using the VPN. So there are always ways to circumvent all these, but still 99% of people do not have right now access to internet, and we don't have the news. We don't know exactly what's going on, and but we do sometimes have some ways to circumvent everything. Yeah.
Mm. And the government says the reason for shutting down the internet is to quell the protests following the postponement of the elections. Has this method ever worked in Senegal?
Obviously, it doesn't work. They tried it before, and now people, just wait for it and find some other ways. Of course, it's not easy, but you still have some ways to circumvent everything. But still, most people right now do not have access to internet. We don't know exactly what's going on into the National Assembly. We don't know what's going on for the protest. Many cities are right now under riots, but exactly why they did it, obviously it's to make sure that people don't have the information.
Mm. And of course, such a move appears a bit dictatorial in nature, trying to control information in the country. Total blackout is surely a violation of some international conventions. I wonder perhaps what exactly the legal practitioners in the country are saying at this time.
I mean, everybody is obviously upset for the situation. There are journalists that was arrested yesterday. Also, one major news channel from the opposition, its signal just got cut off, and they did it for good. They just suppressed their license, and they're off air right now. So the situation is very bad. When you do that to the information, you do that to the democracy as a whole. And yesterday also we have leaders of the opposition that was arrested, like Aminata Touré, a former prime minister, a former justice minister. She was prevented from being able to run for president. And yesterday she was arrested, but fortunately late at night she was released. But still, all this thing is just crazy right now, what's going on. And we really call on Nigeria, the African Union. I mean, you're the powerhouse of Africa, to speak up, because if democracy is gone in Senegal, which is one of the very few countries that has always been under democracy, if this is gone, it's going to be bad for Africa, it's going to be bad for the whole world.
All right, so we understand that one of the candidates in the polls has been arrested, or was arrested, I think, yesterday or thereabout. I wonder what exactly is in there for such a candidate and, of course, his supporters. Will he be participating in the polls in the future?
There are a few, I don't know which one you're talking about, because there are a few of them that are arrested. One is arrested, maybe you're talking about the one that was arrested because they said that they found out that she had another citizenship other than the Senegalese one. So that's a lady that was arrested because of that. Right now, I think she's put into jail right now. So probably she won't be able to participate again. But there are some other people that was arrested, some other opposition leaders, as I said, Aminata Touré, and some other opposition leaders, just because they protested about this crazy thing. How can you just stop this election process one day before the campaign starts? It never happened. It's completely crazy. And let's say it, we call a cat by its name. This is a dictatorship that is going on in Senegal right now, because the only way that he can do all this, Macky Sall, is because he has the army with him. And how long it's going to be like that, we don't know.
I wonder, Amadou, exactly what the fate of the opposition, what the fate of the opposition is right now in Senegal, and then perhaps do we have numbers as to the candidates that have been arrested?
Yesterday there were two of them that was arrested. A third was going to be arrested, but some of these militants just fought off the police, so he got released. And there's a fourth one that is right now, as we speak, that is in jail. And right now, the National Assembly is trying to vote a law that will allow Macky Sall to stay 1 or 2 more years without being elected, which is, as I call, dictatorship.
All right. So, I mean, so is there still suspicion on the fact that President Macky Sall intends to hold on to power, and the announcement about the postponement is that just an excuse from the president?
No, he cannot do that. I mean, he doesn't have the mandate to be able to do that here. I mean, you have here in Senegal 2 terms. He finished his 2nd term. He wanted to run for a 3rd one. So everybody was outside it was about 8 months ago. So huge protests, huge riots, and he said he won't run for a 3rd term. But right now he's like, okay, you prevented me from running for a 3rd term, but now I'm just going to cancel the elections. That's it.
Allow me to squeeze in perhaps one final question, Amadou. What does that speak of our image as a continent? The fact that we have leaders who always want to hold on to power, and of course we've seen in very recent times the fact that the economic bloc, ECOWAS, recently the likes of 3 nations, Burkina Faso and the likes, leaving the bloc. But what does that speak about our image?
Very bad, very bad. For Senegal, that's the first time we have something like this. Our first president, Leopold Sédar Senghor, left, and without any issues. And there was a democratic process. And then we had Abdou Diouf, same thing. He lost the election in 2000. Abdoulaye Wade lost the election in 2012. But this guy, Macky Sall, he just doesn't want to leave. Now we see that Africa's democracy is regressing. Instead of going forward, it's going backward. Senegal is the only place here in West Africa that kind of never had a kind of coup d'etat or things like that. But now you have Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger that just got out of ECOWAS. And now we have something like this in Senegal. And the other African leaders, I don't hear them. I don't hear nobody say anything. Even the European Union spoke up yesterday. The US government spoke up yesterday. But did you hear anything about other African leaders? I did not. I didn't hear anybody say anything. So we are left alone now just to fight until we have our country back.
Well, Amadou, thanks indeed for speaking with us. Try and stay safe out there. Thank you again for speaking with us here on the program.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right, so there you go. From one non-election to one that did take place, El Salvador's current president, Nayib Bukele, has been re-elected. Bukele has been credited with driving down gang violence in the Central American nation. Here's the catch, though. Bukele has not been announced winner, but announced himself as winner. The 42-year-old took to social media to say he won 85% of the vote. Preliminary results later showed him winning 83% with 31% of votes counted. His popularity has soared following a crackdown on crime that has transformed El Salvador from one of the most violent countries in the world to one of the safest in Latin America. But Mr. Bukele, a former mayor of the capital, San Salvador, has described himself as the world's coolest dictator. He declared himself the winner before the official results were announced, telling his cheering supporters that he had achieved the biggest difference between first place and second place in history. An Australian writer, Yong Jong, has been given a suspended death sentence by Chinese court 5 years after he was arrested and accused of spying. Officials say the sentence may be commuted to life imprisonment after 2 years. Dr. Yang, a scholar and novelist who blogged about Chinese state affairs, denies the charges, which have not been made public. The Australian government says it is appalled by the outcome, and it comes after a landmark visit to China by Prime Minister Anthony Albanese late last year, which was aimed at improving relations that had been deteriorating in recent years. And former Minister Penny Wong has summoned China's ambassador to Australia for an explanation, and on Monday said the government would be communicating its response to Beijing in the strongest terms. And thousands of Venezuelans on Sunday took to the streets of Caracas to commemorate the 32nd anniversary of the 1992 civic-military uprising led by Hugo Chavez against President Carlos Andrés Pérez. The march in support of current President Nicolás Maduro celebrated the historical event that marked a turning point in Venezuelan politics. Participants were seen marching, chanting slogans and dancing to the sounds of drums while proudly displaying Venezuelan flags and banners. The crowd, composed mainly of Chavistas, headed towards the Miraflores Palace, where President Maduro delivered a speech. The president expressed the importance of unity and civic-military mobilization, stating maximum unity and civic-military mobilization that the team wins and that is going to win. By hook or by crook, he says, we will win, we will always going to win. On February 4, 1992, the revolutionary Bolivarian movement, 200 created and led by Chavez, attempted to a coup d'etat against the Democratic Action government of Carlos Perez. The uprising was driven by general dissatisfaction with Perez's neoliberal policies influenced by the International Monetary Fund, that's the IMF. And Hugo Chavez, who later became president of Venezuela and a key figure in the country's modern history, served from 1999 until his death in 2013. And dozens of activists from the Doctors of the World organization on Sunday gathered in front of the Arc de Triomphe in Paris for a protest against what many believe is the social cleansing of rough sleepers ahead of the 2024 Olympics. And protesters chanted and held smoke bombs and rings representing the Olympic symbol, as well as placards reading, "Don't leave exclusions as legacy at Olympic Games 2024, other side of the medal." They also projected a huge laser logo on the front of the arch with the slogan, "We are not ready." Authorities have announced 10 temporary regional centers for homeless people as part of a plan to alleviate the pressure on the capital. Dozens of organizations dismissed it as social cleansing ahead of the Olympics, while the French government has denied any connection. And the UK is warning of a flood, or a food crisis rather, triggered by war and drought in Ethiopia. The government has imposed a commitment of £100 to help up to 3 million mothers and babies in the country get access to health care, a new fund to provide medicines and vaccines designed to end preventable deaths. International aid agencies are cautious about using what some call the F word. It has a precise technical definition. 20% of households are facing extreme food shortages, 30% of children under fire with acute malnutrition, and 2 people out of every 10,000 dying every day. And few suggest those criteria have been formally met in Ethiopia. The Ethiopian government says 16 million people across the country are facing food shortages, with almost half of those suffering emergency or severe levels of insecurity. And that means many are not just hungry, they are starving. And many thanks indeed for staying with us. 2 other stories now. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, presumed members of the M23 armed group attacked one of the United Nations helicopters, resulting in the injuries of 2 South African peacekeepers. And briefing reporters in New York, UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric said this happened in the Karuba region in the North Kivu province in Masisi territory. The attack has also been strongly condemned by the head of the United Nations Organization Stabilization Mission in the DRC, Bintou Keita.
A quick update from our peacekeeping colleagues in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. They're reporting that earlier today, presumed members of the M23 armed group fired upon one of our UN helicopters, and that took place in the Karuba region in North Kivu province near Masisi territory. The incident resulted in the injuries of 2 South African peacekeepers, including one who was seriously wounded. The helicopter was able to land safely in Goma, and the peacekeepers are currently receiving medical attention. In a press statement today, the head of our peacekeeping mission there, Bintou Keita, strongly condemned the attack against an aircraft bearing the UN emblem, which comes almost a year after a similar attack caused the death of a South African peacekeeper. She recalled that attacks against peacekeepers may constitute war crimes. The mission will spare no effort in cooperation with the Congolese authorities to bring the perpetrators to justice. Meanwhile, the head of our peacekeeping department, Jean-Pierre Lacroix, joined by Catherine Pollard, the Undersecretary General for Management, Strategy, Policy and Compliance, along with Christian Saunders, the Special Coordinator on Improving UN Response to Sexual Exploitation and Abuse, are all in the DRC. They arrived in Beni in North Kivu today, where they will continue their visit to the eastern part of that country.
And back here in Nigeria, the recent relocation of some departments of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria to Lagos State has raised divergent reactions. In this next report, our business correspondent Ladi Williams highlights the cost-benefit analysis and what the law says about the decisions of the Apex Bank and the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development.
Where an organization is situated plays a crucial role in how it does business. The Tinubu administration has come with major reforms, from unification of the FX market to the removal of fuel subsidy. But a more recent one is the relocation of some departments at the Central Bank of Nigeria and Department of Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria from Abuja to Lagos.
Mr. President.
The CBN is made up of 17 departments, which include Banking Supervision, Other Financial Institution Supervision, Consumer Protection Department, Payment System Management Department, Financial Policy Regulations Department. The Department of Banking Supervision of the Central Bank of Nigeria is one of the 5 being moved to Lagos, while one department of FAN is being moved to Lagos. The movement of these centers of operation by the Tinubu administration have raised mixed reactions.
This is a decision that is not well thought out, and I think the president will reverse it. I'm confident of that. And if that does not happen, of course, this is democracy. We'll know what to do.
The Minister of Aviation gives reasons for the relocation of the FAN department.
These departments in Lagos, for the ones that are here, the directors that are here, you see them flying every day with files to and from Abuja to get one simple signature, to get one document approved for one small meeting or the other. And it is compounded by the fact that the fund is not yet digitalized. That is what I met on the ground. In 1 year, they showed me the books. They spent close to ₦500 million on air tickets.
There are laws guiding operations of these organizations. The CBN Act of 2007 provides a legal framework for its operations. Subsection 1 of the Act defines the establishment of the nation's Apex Bank as a Central Bank of Nigeria. Furthermore, Section 3 states that the head of office of the bank shall be located anywhere in the Federal Capital Territory. Relocating the headquarters of the CBN to Lagos would involve amending the CBN Act to officially recognize Lagos as the new principal office location of the bank.
That when you go back and look at the philosophy of the setup, it does not necessarily have to be in the Federal Capital Territory. I agree, that is what the law says. But we can even look at that law again.
Meanwhile, analyzing the risk and benefits might be a little tricky.
Now, all we need to do now is to say, okay, look, Mr. Governor, Mr. Cardoso, you said that we are moving 4 departments to Lagos, okay? In a month's time, or 2 months' time, or in 3 months' time, or in a year's time, we should be able to look back and say, this decision, like this policy decision that you have taken, what have been the implications?
Going forward,
I spoke to a HR consultant to get an in-depth analysis on the costs for the workers, because at the end of the day, these departments are people being moved from one state to the other.
People don't just, because people have ties, they just leave one location and just move on as if it didn't matter they were somewhere before. It's part of the cost there. So there should be like 3 costs we're tracking. The cost to the organization, and of course the benefit, we can compare that. The cost to the employees being moved, and the benefit, and then the cost to society.
Currently, 1,500 redeployed CBN staff have reportedly resumed at the Lagos office. It remains to be seen how the relocations impact the services of these departments. Ladi Williams, reporting for Channels Television News.
And the Lagos State government is sensitizing market women on new ways to package their goods and products. The Commissioner for Agriculture in the state, Bisola Olusoya, who was speaking at the sensitization program in Mushi, says market women in Lagos must be carried along in achieving the Lagos Food Systems Initiative. According to her, the Lagos Food Systems is geared towards moderning a sales and purchase system that will be a lot easier for the people of the state.
Select market women in Lagos converge on Idiro area of Mushi for a sensitization program on how to sustain the state food system. One of such middle-level agro-hub recently unveiled by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu last year in Mushi for buying and selling of fresh food items. The Agro-Food Hub initiative is part of the state government's 5-year agriculture roadmap in modernizing food storage, packaging and transportation for healthy benefit of the people. And the government wants the market women to imbibe the new marketing style.
We want to let you know that there is a co-appease multipurpose society that has just been established in Lagos, and it is provided for us to be able to do savings, consistent savings, and thereafter we will be able to access credit at single digits.
Achieving zero waste in Mushi modernized market is also very important for the government.
So apart from the fact that the food fair is going on, we also have the Lagos Food Systems Champions Sensitization Program tailored to market women, just to talk to them about waste, to talk to them about creating profitability for themselves, finding new ways around transportation, storage and processing, all in a bid to ensure that wastage is reduced to the barest minimum.
Representative of the market women commend the government's transformative agenda.
We learn about our markets to be clean, to know how to display our markets, to know how to gain.
Mushi Fresh Food Market is a one-stop shop location to purchase affordable farm produce, and the Lagos State government says more agro-hubs will be provided across the 5 divisions of the state.
And South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has congratulated singer Tyla for winning the inaugural Grammys for Best African Music Performance for her viral global hit, Water. She's the first artist to win the coveted new category, beating Nigeria's Burna Boy, Davido, Aerostar, and Ashake, who had been nominated for the award. In a post on X, Mr. Ramaphosa said the singer added herself to the list of eminent South African artists and musicians who have made a mark on the world stage. And some Africans have hailed Sunday's Grammys as a historic moment for the continent's talent, with Tyla winning, Nigeria's Burna Boy performing, and South African comedian Trevor Noah hosting the music's biggest event for a record 4th consecutive time. Well, we stay with the Grammys as Taylor Swift stole the show at this year's Grammy Awards, becoming the first performer to win the prize for Album of the Year 4 times. The superstar had previously been tied on 3 Best Album wins with Stevie Wonder, Paul Simon, and Frank Sinatra. She received the prize from Celine Dion, who made an unexpected appearance amid health fears. Taylor Swift also used the event to reveal a surprise new album. Meanwhile, Miley Cyrus and Billie Eilish took the other top awards at Sunday's ceremony. The LA show was dominated by women, with R&B stars Sia and Victoria Monet and all-female supergroup Boy Genius picking up multiple awards, music icons Tracy Chapman and Johnny Mitchell giving rare and poignant performances. Kyler Mike was the top male winner, taking 3 rap trophies, but his success was overshadowed by an apparent altercation backstage, which led to him being booked on a misdemeanor charge by the police. And the Grammys does it for us here on The World Today. Thanks indeed for watching, everyone. I am Kelly Egiga. Bye now.